And that's the real question is once you commit, you're accountable to what you committed to. I'm just going to say a prayer that something happens with my eyes, and if it doesn't, it's God's will, and we're going to make it work. Lord, I thank you for another day above ground and out of prison. Lord, I love you so much, and I thank you for being present here today. I thank you for saving each and every one of our lives, even though we may not even appreciate or understand it. There's no possible way, given our past, that we should be alive, but we're here today. So since we're here, Lord, please continue to work with us in spite of us. Give me the words to say. I ask for forgiveness of the things that are in me that are not of you, and I'm sure there's plenty. And Lord, help me to not continue to repeat the same things over and over again. So have your way here tonight as we talk about commitment, because we are to be committed to you. In your name we pray, amen. Amen. So I had a revelation today at the eye doctor. I got trust issues, and my life is one that if there's a chance something could go wrong, it always does. So I'm wondering now if I will be the first human being in history to have their eyes dilated for several weeks. Because she said, no, an hour, that's it. You'll be fine for tonight. I still can't see, and I'm not complaining, but say old. Say old. I'm 48 years old now, and I'm not getting any younger, and I've dreaded the day of cheater glasses that I've seen people wear, because I don't, glasses are different. I'm a type of guy that it doesn't take much to throw me off my square. I'm still like that. I don't like change. Some of you know my story. I held onto a belt around my waist. It was in threads, but it's not that I couldn't afford a new belt. I just didn't want a new belt. So change has always been difficult to me. So God had taught me a lesson today when I went to the eye doctor and kind of mirrored the story of my life. And I'm not ashamed to talk about it because it is who I am. I am a hypochondriac. I don't like it when people tell me. I was just met with somebody in a counseling session earlier today, and I sometimes when people say, how you doing? I said, I'm good. How you really doing? Then I think there's something wrong with me. Or if I see symptoms, I would never read the side effects of all the psychiatric drugs I've been on and never be ashamed of your mental health. Thank God that God has given the tools to this planet for people that have highs and lows like myself to even out, but I know my spirituality is key. I don't know if this thing's still weird, is it? Do you want to come change it so I don't have to spend the next, praise God? But I'm at the eye doctor today, so I've been traveling a lot lately. Let's give Pastor Jed a hand. A lot lately, fulfilling something on my bucket list, and it took me 14 years to get here. But over these last couple of weeks, I've noticed a drastic change in my eyes. I noticed it most on Sunday night when I was looking at the Word Up when Pastor was teaching, and I couldn't see a darn thing. So I had I had an eye appointment in a couple weeks, and my wife had one today, so she was able to switch her appointment with mine, and I'll get back to that here in a minute. So I go in there and I tell the lady, and of course I'm way overdue on an eye exam. So they're wondering why I haven't been in there. So they do a normal eye exam on me. And I'm telling her that I've had a real hard time seeing something up close. I believe nearsighted is when you can see up close. Is that correct? And farsighted is when you can see far away. Is that correct? No? Yes, I got some people nodding yes. Nearsighted is what? You can see far away? Okay, thank you. I'll forget that in 10 seconds. So anyways, I'm at the doctor's today, and I tell her, so I'm looking for a solution. And I've tried to get that LASIK, and something's wrong with my eyes that I can't get them. Anyways, to make a long story short, her solution is that she comes in there and tells me, I forget the name of the solution, monovision, which scared me just by the title. And I've had monovision smoking crack before, but I don't think it was this type. But so I'm interested to hear her solution. So she tells me that my left eye is going to have a lower whatever percentage of power so I can see close, and my right eye I will be able to see far away. I said, well, isn't that going to be weird? She goes, as long as you don't shut one eye. I said, really? This is the solution that our technology has got nowadays? She goes, after a while, your brain will catch on. And that confused me. And I thought about my recovery when I started this journey this time around, before I wasn't fully surrendered. And it confused me, so I didn't do it. It confused me on how coming to meetings would help me get free. It confused me on how being honest and telling my lies and telling on myself and being disciplined and being of service and being a man of faith and getting a sponsor and working. That didn't make sense to me, so I didn't do it. So then I went home and I thought to myself, as I'm sitting there, and her and I were laughing because she thought I was just totally insane, which I am. But then I looked at the difference of being nearsighted, which means you can see far away, see close. See, I'm not the sharpest tool in the shed, but I'm still sober. Sometimes it's a simple program for complicated people, and sometimes we outsmart this program. So I forgot it again. Nearsighted is what? So nearsighted. So I thought to myself about my recovery. In my recoveries, I've been nearsighted. All I could see was my circumstances. But this time around, I was farsighted. And I saw the promises even though I hadn't experienced them because I saw them in you. Some of you are nearsighted tonight and you can't see what God has for you. All you can see what is in front of you. But now my eyes are blurry. So when your eyes are blurry, all you really have to focus on is what's right in front of you. And that's how I got here. Because early on, it was extremely blurry, but I was farsighted and I focused on the 9-step promises and I let God take care of my circumstances. And then God checked me, because when I left the eye doctor place, I was upset because you know me, just like I've done in 10 treatments now, I took the contacts out that they gave me because they didn't make sense to me. And I went back to what I knew. How many times have you done that in your recovery? Let me tell you something else that happened this afternoon. Then I was mad at my wife for making the appointment. Have you ever been mad at your loved ones for working at you to go into treatment, and once you got there, you were pissed that they got you there? God will always use something to reveal something else to you. If you pay attention, you will get revelations often, like your parents may be paying for your sober house at BSM or Serenity Village, and now you're upset with them. Did they have to pay for it? Or the county? Some of us are living on county money. I know what that's like. I've done it. You know my story. When I first got a job, I was upset that I had to pay taxes. When the taxes of other people got me in detox treatment centers and halfway houses the majority of my addiction. Some of you will wonder what FICA is. It isn't a person. And it will be taken out of your check. See, I've learned that in my recovery, I've been both nearsighted and farsighted, and I didn't know how to commit. And then I was studying here. Now I have, my eyes are coming back, and I thank you, God, for that prayer. And I got about 30 font up here. And now I got to teach a lesson out of notes that are in this that I cannot read. But I'm still going to do it. So when things don't make sense to me, I still do it because I know what's good for me and what's not. And I need to learn how to persevere. But I thought about leprosy. That a lot of us can relate to what lepers relate to. Leprosy is a skin condition. I believe it's a disease that also attacks your nervous system. And the definition of a leper is someone who is disliked, avoided by other people, a person shunned for moral and social reasons. So I think we can relate to what lepers feel like. Some of us, even though we may be liked, we feel like we're disliked. We feel like no one likes us. We felt like that for a young age, and in order to get attention, we acted out. And oftentimes I see grown adults in relapses, they feel like they're not getting enough attention, so they have to go do something that gains attention of other people. I know what it's like to feel like I'm disliked, avoided by other people. When people used to see me coming, they went the other way. They still do it in the rooms because they know I'm about kingdom business. They know I'm about recovery. So if you're not about kingdom business or recovery, you might not want to be around people that are, because they intimidate you. They shouldn't intimidate you. They're here to teach you and love you and guide you and direct you, because God always answers a problem with a person. Jacqueline posted this afternoon that you're the answer to somebody else's problem. But I know what it's like to be avoided, as the lepers are defined, a person shunned for moral and social reasons. I know what it's like to not have a moral compass. I know what it's like to be a menace of society. And because I had no moral compass, and because I was a menace of society, I was shunned. But I've also learned that I'm my own worst enemy, and I don't, even though I'm overly sensitive to all my critics, I also am the hardest on myself. So I love what it says, and I think if you look at Luke 17, the key to staying sober is giving back where you got it. That if you don't believe God has brought you here, you will not succeed here. If this is just another stop in the road for you on your journey, where are you going after this? And where have you gone after this? See, I never stopped coming 14 years ago. This week, if you come to our anniversary service, you're going to see the men and women that have sowed in my life consistently for 4 years, because I did not get here by myself. But I love what the Word says here, and I've never been a reader. I've never been interested in reading. I'm a hustler. But when I started reading the Word of God, it got my attention, because no matter the low or high level of my intellect, I can relate, because I'm gonna prove it to you. And you know my story. I go to the prisons, the jails, and detoxes, and I respect that they don't want anything to do with the Bible. So I just give them the information. I don't tell them where the origin of the information is. And while they hear me teach the information, they all agree. But as soon as they find out it came from the Bible, they shut it out. That tells you how powerful the Bible is. We all know going to an AA meeting or a GA meeting or a CMA meeting or an SA meeting or a CA meeting or an AA meeting, a lot of people get offended if you hear the word Jesus. They don't care if you say Buddha, because Buddha doesn't carry power. No disrespect. I respect anybody's freedom of religion. So why is that? And really, when it comes to Jesus, I'm not going to make this so much about that, but if you really knew who he was, he's the biggest chill dude you've ever could meet. He loves people like us. He stands up for people like us. He died for people like us. So it says, and it came to pass that whatever you're fighting in your life today didn't come to stay. It came to pass. So why are you making permanent decisions in temporary situations? And the temporary situation is made permanent because you're making a permanent decision in a temporary situation, a feeling, or a mindset. It came to pass. You don't even remember what you were tripping about 6 months ago. But whatever you're tripping about now is the end of the world. We all know if you work a program, you're going to get things back. But we can't keep them. Sometimes getting something back too quick is the worst thing that can happen. So it came to pass. Check this out. As he went through to Jerusalem, he passed through the midst of Samaria and Galilee. See, do you remember the day when God passed through wherever you were? Pass through that jail cell, pass through that dope house, pass through those DTs, pass through. And he got your attention because you were looking for him just at the right time. If he would have came 10 minutes early or 10 minutes later, you wouldn't have seen him. God is never late. He's never early. God is always on time. Right now, he's passing through this sanctuary with wanting an encounter with you. But here's Jesus. He passed through the midst. See, Jesus always wants to be in the midst of things. If you're not in the center of what God is doing in this community, you probably ain't going to make it. Now, I didn't sit on the outskirts of the dope house. I wonder what they're doing in there. I was right in the center of it. I didn't sit in the back of Stand-Up Frank's waiting for the server to notice me. I was belly up at the bar making sure they served me quickly, and I ordered twice, so
by the time I got halfway done, which wasn't a long period of time, they had the second one coming. And we know that one is too many, thousands never enough. But check out Jesus here. That he entered through a certain village. He's been entering this village for 14 years, and thousands of people have been set free. So why not you? It says, so he entered into a certain gym. There he met 10 men who were lepers. We just heard the definition of lepers, which stood far off. Oftentimes when you're walking in guilt and shame and condemnation in these rooms, you're sitting far off. You're just not quite so sure about what's happening here. You're not going to fully submerge yourself, and you're going to take everybody's else inventory. You're going to look for what's wrong versus what's right. You're going to focus on the problems versus the solutions, and you're going to look at the differences versus the similarities, and you're going to find a problem in this room because I'm one of them. But aren't you too? Oftentimes we hold people to standards that we don't even come close to walking in. All we're really responsible for is to give it our best. But these 10 men that had leprosy, they stood far off. And I can relate to that because oftentimes in these rooms, I never engaged with anything. I got here late and I left early. I couldn't wait to get out of here the whole time I was here. And that's some of you tonight, but you're still okay because Scott testified earlier. The fact is that's how he was. That's how I was. But I just didn't leave. And if you never leave, you never have to come back. The title of tonight's message. It doesn't mean you have to stay at BSM or Serenity Village for the rest of your life, but you do have to be connected to where God gave you the freedom to begin with.
Right, that's good.
And if you ever want to be in trust, don't check this out. But after they stood far off, they had enough courage to lift their voices. If you want what they have, you're going to have to do what they do. Ask somebody how they got it. I got asked at Shakopee Prison in August. A woman said, well, how did you get it? I said, I don't know. But I got it. God is who he says he is. But I don't have it to the degree that I don't want to miss it. But they said they lifted up their voices and they pushed through their shame. And the lepers, which the master, they said, have mercy on us. If you're under the sound of my voice, God has mercy on you. You did not get everything that was coming to you. If you got breath in your lungs and sight in your eyes and ears, and even if you don't have all those characteristics, God has had mercy on you. They're saying having mercy on us. Now think about that now. I don't know how they got the leprosy or what happened there, but it's a little different for me. I chose to smoke crack, lose my family, get incarcerated, accumulate financial debt, legal consequences and health problems, and destroy my mind. I chose that, and God still, no, the addiction didn't choose it. I chose it because I had a solution to work a program, and I chose not to work the program. But God still had mercy on me. Not one time, not 2 times, not 10 times, 11 times. And in the middle of those treatments, 100 different times within every moment. That's how good God is. So I don't know how you can be pissed at him. My daughter said to me, I'm getting too loose. I've been on vacation too long. I said frickin', and now I said piss, so I got to tighten up my game. It says in verse 14, and when he saw them, I love how good God is. He says, when I saw them, he said unto them, go show yourselves unto the priest. Oftentimes, when you want to get sober, people say, go to a meeting, go to treatment, go get a sponsor, go. So it was the obedience in going is where they got the freedom. Your relationship with your sponsor is critical. But it's the fact that you would have enough humility to establish a relationship and take counsel. I don't like suggestions. You give a junkie a suggestion, he's going to contemplate in doing it. We got to be commanded to do something. If you want what we have, do it. If you don't, go. But we love you, but we're doing this. But he said, go show yourself to the priest. So they wanted it. They asked for mercy. They spoke up. I want this. Have mercy on me. I believe that you have something for me. He says, well, then go. And now check this out. It came to pass that as they went, over these last 14 years, there's been a lot of problems. But as I've been going, things have fallen off of me. And just like my eyes being dilated, I don't know when they're going to be truly back into focus, but I'm going to keep doing it in regards to things are blurry. Sometimes people get a little sniffle and they don't want to come to a meeting. I've never missed a meeting because I would never miss getting high. I didn't stop smoking crack because I had a cold. I mean, it's ridiculous. But check this out. Go show yourselves unto the priests. And it came to pass, because they listened to him, they asked for mercy, they got out of their own way, and while they were going, while you're working the steps, shortcomings will fall off of you. While you're working the steps and the amends, you'll clean your side of the street. While you're going, things will change. This is a process, not an event. And if you're part of the process, you'll experience the solution. But if you're sitting afar off, now check this out. Check this out. This just tells the story of this. They were cleansed. They were detoxed. Too many of you have only gone as far as being detoxed. Recovery isn't detox. Getting the benzos, the opiates, the alcohol, the cocaine, the methamphetamines, the ding, 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 ding from the casino out of your ears. Too many of us are just after the detox. And that's what happened with these 10. Check this out. They did it. You went to treatment and you got detoxed. Detox is not enough because you're not fighting a drug or a casino or an alcohol. This is a spiritual battle. The ism is some of you call it a disease, some of you call it a sin. I call it something that'll kill me. But check this out. So they went and all 10. Everybody who went to treatment with me, unless they were busting and moving, we know that happens in treatment centers all the time. Some of us have done it. I've done it. But if you went to treatment and you didn't bust a move and tell lies, we all got cleansed together. But what happened after that? And 1 out of the 10. This tells us now the statistics of 12% of people get and stay sober in this nation. And 1 of them out of the 10 saw that he was healed. There's something difference between being cleansed and healed. Being cleansed means you detox. Being healed is of the thing that made you used to begin with. I'm here for a healing. Check this out. Check this out. 1 saw, sometimes after you get done detoxing, you can't see that healing is available, so it doesn't interest you. What if the other 9 would have saw that they were healed? It doesn't say that it just says that he saw that he was healed and turned back, check this out, with a loud voice and glorified God. He knew it wasn't from him. He knew it was from God. Check this out. And fell down on his face. You're going to see me show gratitude this weekend of the people that have gotten me to where I am. Not just with talk, not just with money, but also with action. Because if the dope man required anything of me, it was talk, it was money, and it was action. But if somebody in spiritual authority asks you any of those things, well, this is conditional. That's why I knew something was wrong here. Has your recovery got as much time and money as your addiction did? See, here's one guy that saw he was healed. Check this out. And Jesus answered him, where are not the other 10? Where are the 2,000 that came through this program that never said thank you? Where are they? They just came for a stop in the road and failed to realize we put our lives on the line so somebody that doesn't have a life can have one. But here's Jesus. He says, where are the rest of them? Don't you ever wonder what happened to the guys and gals you went to treatment with? Be careful how close you get to them, that not many of them are going to make it. So get around those that are making it. Don't be intimidated by them. Jesus says, were the not 10 cleansed? But where are the 9? Jesus already knew that they had been cleansed, but only 1 saw that he was healed. I think there's a big difference from being detoxed to know that I am free of the shortcoming that makes me smoke crack. Because God has removed my character defects and removed my shortcomings. God has taught me to continue to take personal inventory when I was wrong probably meant. God has taught me how to seek him through prayer and meditation to improve my conscious contact with God. That's what happened to this guy. And Jesus is perplexed. I'm perplexed. People used to be perplexed about me. Oh, you went to treatment, we helped you, we put our lives on the line, we haven't seen you since. The only time we see you is when you're in trouble again. I get those calls every day. It says, not found that return glory to God. Save the stranger. Think about BSM guys. You're all champions. What a blessing it is to have you guys. Serenity Village guys, Serenity Homes men and women here tonight. What a blessing, because you were all strangers to us before you got here. And we don't have you here because we like your $500. $500 ain't that important to me. Save this stranger. Who is this man that's coming back to show gratitude for something that I have done for him? And it says, I said unto him, check this out, arise and go thy way. Arise and go help people because your faith has made you whole. You know what? If you experience a detox and you get healed from what made you used to begin with, and then you serve, thanks is not words. Thanks is an action. If you are active in your gratitude, you will become whole. And when you're whole, you don't have to go outside of yourself to fill you up. So you won't be thirsty for a drink or a line or a shot or a pill. Because if you're whole, you're not going to go to buy something that's killing you to fill you up and be deceived. It just taught us the 3 steps on how to get free. But it just didn't talk about detox. It just didn't talk about that. It talked about serving and paying respect for respect. And now he's whole. And when you're whole, you don't have to go externally for things. Acts 20:35, you are more blessed by adding to than taking from. Some of you are here tonight just to get something. God has sent you here to give something. Because you can take and you can take and you can take until you got nothing left. That's what we got. We were all takers before we got here. What did you have when you got here from taking everything from everyone? Taking their time, taking their trust, taking their integrity, taking their money, taking a lot of stuff. But when I got here, I had nothing. So if taking was so beneficial, why didn't I accumulate all those things that I took?
Good.
But it says, in everything I did, I showed you that this kind of hard work, like Scotty said, I mean, what we do is not easy. It's hard work. If you're lazy in your recovery, you'll get put to work in your relapse. We forget what real work was trying to get one more. Check this out. Remembering the words of the Lord Jesus himself said, it's more blessed to give than receive. Too many of us think we're going to be blessed if we take. You're more blessed if you give than to receive. So the question I have for you tonight is, are you committed? The definition of commitment is a promise to do or give some. I promise I'm going to work a program. I promise I'm going to give it my all. I promise I'm going to get a sponsor. I promise I'm going to be honest. I promise I'm not going to use. That's called commitment, but I could never keep my commitments. So why did I make them? Why did I make commitments that I can't keep and had no real desire to keep? It's to get you off my back so I can go do whatever I want to do. A promise to do or give something, a promise to be loyal. Oh, I get nervous when people say they're going to be loyal to me. I've been deceived more in these rooms than I did selling crack. Because we're not dealing with active addiction here. We're just dealing with character defects and shortcomings. Promise to be loyal to someone or something, or an attitude of someone who works very hard to do. See, if you're committed to a person that's already been committed to work hard for the fruit, there's fruit all over this place. 1 Kings, is your heart fully committed to your recovery? Or do you got one eye on this and one eye on that? So many people are in such a hurry to get back what they lost, and my question for you is, if it was that important to you, why did you leave it? Not that families, now you heard me last week. My kids were in town from college, 2 of them. They waited until the small group got done. I only had 48 hours with them. They've been trained in these rooms. If I ain't in that small group, they ain't got a dad. Do they understand? No. Do they get confused and a little bitter once in a while? Yes. But I'd rather have them bitter about me being in a small group than me being in prison or the grave. But it says, and may your hearts be fully committed to the Lord our God. And beyond being committed, you got to live in the decrees and obey his commands at this time. See, so I'll do it next week. I'll do it next month. And that's how my life was. Isaiah 26, is your mind on God and your recovery? Check this out. You will keep in perfect and constant peace if your mind is steadfast and committed and focused on. Oftentimes, we're focused on things that are not God. So if I was you, I'd ask me the question, well, how do you focus on God? You get to know God. You ask people. You talk about your shortcomings. You express your character defects. If you lie, you tell people that you lie. They already knew you lied anyway, because you're not around a bunch of people that just fell off the truck. You can't con a con man. It says in both inclination and character. I looked up the word inclination. I'm not the smartest person in the room here. And if you're the smartest person in the room, you're in the wrong room. So it looks like inclination is an urge or a feeling that ones have. We all have whacked out urges and feelings. But I like what it says here, because he trusts and takes refuge in you. So you got to learn how to trust God and take refuge in him. So Proverbs 16 says, do your actions speak louder than your words? We're all good talkers. We can tell anybody what we're going to do, but we don't do it. Check this out. It says, commit your works. That's your service to the Lord. Submit and trust him. He will cause your thoughts to be agreeable. Sometimes when you start doing God's work, your mind will change. Check out what the word says. God will cause your thoughts. That's profound to me. To become agreeable to his will. So just start doing this stuff. Be of service. And your plans will succeed. We got hundreds of people that plans are succeeding. Because it's not their plans, they're God's plans. And if you take care of his business, he'll take care of yours. Amen. If you respond to his with guidance, 1 Corinthians, do you give back to where God has placed you? Each one of you should continue to live. I'm going to say that again. Each one of you should continue to live in whatever situation the Lord has placed you. Again, if you don't believe God has brought you here, see, I'm so sick that God tied me down with all this stuff and pastoring this church, because I would have been gone a long time ago. I'm just being honest with you. I don't envy you in regards to if I didn't have to teach this every week, I'm just going to be honest, I wouldn't be in the Word like I am. I wouldn't, well, that had been years ago, but because my eyes were dilated, I would have had to take a week off of my recovery. But check out what it says. Continue to live whatever situation. So anytime you're in a debate where you should be, you'll never appreciate where you are. And in so many of us, is this for me? Is this not for me? What is for us? Hebrews 13. Are you a pleasure or a pain to work with? Oh. Have confidence in your leaders and submit to their authority. We know that God puts people over us because they keep watch over your souls. And I have to give account to you on how I teach you, to God himself. It says, do it so their work will be a joy, not a burden. Is it a joy to work with you? Not a burden, for that would be no benefit to you. If you're not a joy for me to work with, it ain't not a benefit to me. It's going to hurt you because you'll be the one that won't be here, because you'll take yourself out of here. And I say this with all humility, but we'll leave the light on for you. And God willing, I'll be here when you get back if you make it back. And if I don't go before you get back, because I can get high tonight. It says your level of commitment is being watched. Job 1:7, the enemy. You got an external enemy called the devil, and you got an internal enemy called enemy. You're your own worst enemy. Don't give the devil all the credit. You're taking yourself out of the game. The devil doesn't have to work on you. He already knows you're going to bust a move next week. You've been here a little longer than expected. You're going to get twisted, start looking at what's wrong versus right, concoct some secret plans because you're a secret agent. Go see old girl or do this, do that, and do this. And I'm just doing some pills. Oh, I'm doing synthetics. Well, yeah, we got UAs for them now too. And just to burst your alcohol bubble, we do got UAs now that can test your urine if you drank within the last 6 days. Sorry. So that means I got to drink tomorrow if I get back in. Lighten up and don't look so serious. If you can't have fun in your recovery, you're going to get high. Jeez. What I'm talking about is myself. Don't look at me like you're all pissed and twisted. Now I'm swearing again. I can't go on vacation anymore. But sometimes we give the devil too much credit, and all he does is wait for us to do what we've always done. It's a matter of time before we become complacent, get twisted and upset and can't wait for meetings to get over, start concocting a new plan. If you're living in one of these sober houses at BSM or Serenity, does somebody know your plans that you live with? I mean, not your road dog that ain't going to do nothing for you once you both bust a move and split up the $10 you got in your pocket. So we got people watching us. It's one of those people is called the devil. It says, where have you come from? Do you ever seen the devil come out of nowhere? The Lord asked Satan, the devil. Satan said, answer the Lord. I have been patrolling the earth, watching everything that's going on. It doesn't say he's watching some of the things that's going on. He's saying that he's watching everything that's going on. So then you may ask yourself the question, how can the devil watch everything that's going on? I have no idea. How can one contact make the other contact see and I can see next week differently? I have no idea, but I'm going to try it. 2 Chronicles 16:9, God is watching. Let me ask you a question because I see it in the audience, some offense happening. You got to grow up. I go to the Oak Park. I got friends there. I got friends in Minneapolis. I got friends running gangs. All these people that say they drop names. If you roll deep, you don't drop names. I often wondered back in the day, these people that make threats, I said, why would you make a threat? Then they know you're coming. When I go and I minister to some of the greatest men on the planet in that maximum security prison, I see a lot of fear. I see a lot of offense. And it concerns me because, and I shoot just as straight as I'm shooting with you because you know what? Somebody's got to love you enough to tell you the truth.
That's right.
At the risk of you never coming back, you have no idea how many letters and phone calls, mainly letters that I get to this church that are people that are in prison today say, you know what, I was pissed at you while I was there, but now I'm in prison, and everything you said was true. And let me tell you something, boys and girls, men and women. It ain't me saying it's true. It's the truth.
That's right.
It's the truth about you. It's the truth about me. So it also says that God is watching. For the eyes of the Lord reigns throughout the earth and have strengthened those. So God strengthens those who are committed to him. That's why we are able to do what we've been doing for as long as we've been doing it, because of God. I'm going to talk about grace this weekend. Have you done a foolish thing? I'm great at doing foolish things, and from now on you will be at war. Who will you be at war with? Yourself. Ephesians, the leaders are watching. Are you a joy to work with? Or do they have to sit, whatever your curfew times are, wondering why you're coming in at 2 minutes after 11 every night? And why are you offended about a curfew? What could you possibly doing being productive at 1 a.m.? What are you out, handing out tracts down in Hennepin? The leaders are watching. Servants, respectfully obey your earthly masters. We know that God has people over us. You're only as strong as the authority you're under. But always walk with an eye obeying God. So when you're obeying your leaders, you got to have an eye on God too. Christ, it says, don't just do what you have to do to get by. You will not stay sober if all you're doing is the minimum. If you're in these homes and you're just doing the minimum and you're complaining about the minimum, you're really wasting time. No one ever had to coerce me or talk me into smoking crack. They shouldn't have to, yeah, maybe early on they did, but not anymore. This is part of my life now. And what it says now, and work with a smile on your face. I just cannot stand doom and gloom. If you did dope and ran the streets and sold drugs like I did, I'd been shot at and different things, I should be dead. What do I have not to smile about? I'm alive. God has restored a lot of things in my life. And work with a smile. Always keeping your mind on no matter who happens to be giving the orders, you really are serving God. Good work will get you good pay from the master, regardless of whether you are a slave or free. God will reward you. So benefits of being committed. There's a benefit of hanging around committed people. And now I commit you to God. A lot of our parents have committed us to God. They can't work with us anymore. Your wives, your husbands, your children. God, he or she is yours. I've tried everything, and it hasn't worked. I got to give him to you. And that's the best place for you and I to be for a person. Placing you in his protective, loving care. Some of you are sober tonight solely because you're in a sober house. That's it. You're not working the program. So you have to ask yourself, how long is that going to last? And what's the sense of trying to beat a case when you're going to catch another one? I mean, I'm not going to give any suggestions. Why don't you just go do what you're going to do? Because you're going to catch another case. I mean, history repeats itself. But if you get in this program, your history no longer has to really, touch your destiny. But my history is part of my destiny. Because of my history, I'm here with you. Because of your history, you're here with me. So I don't regret my history. And it says, his grace is able to build you up and give you a rightful inheritance among those who are sanctified. That is, among those who are set apart. You have to set yourself apart from the average person and work a program. As we close, Psalm 37, commit to God and he'll commit to you. Commit your way to the Lord, trust in him also, and he shall bring it to pass. If you take care of God's business, he will take care of yours. If you do what you don't want to do, you'll end up doing what you want to do. If you do what you want to do right now, you're going to end up doing what you don't want to do. The very place that you said you would never return to, you will go back and you will make a laughing stock out of yourself. But the people that are waiting there for you could care less because they're just as miserable as you. And they're not going to say, get out. They're going to say, come join me in my misery. They're not bad people. They're just like you and me. But they're counting on you and me to stay in these rooms to get free to go help them. God bless you.